Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final episode of 30 Days of Azure AI. Dirila, I'm so excited about this day.
I know. Final episode, which means we've made it through 30 days of learning every single day about a new concept of AI. And we started with the first week introduction, second week AI for developers, second week AI for data scientists, and this week roll up the sleeves, it's practice time. So this week is different, this week is challenging, and we hope that you've had the chance to practice with us.
Great. So, one of the things which I wanted to highlight about this week is we have almost 3 articles out of the 6 being contributed by MVPs. And being a Microsoft MVP in AI, I am so excited to see these kind of contributions coming up. So Tilila, let's deep dive into our today's articles. So tell us more about the MLOps Accelerator.
Yeah, MLOps Accelerator was a beautiful discovery for me because I've been trying to learn about the MLOps concept and trying to apply it. It's so important because otherwise you can't really realistically have your models go into production smoothly. And it's quite daunting because there's a lot of aspects going on to it. That's why you need to work with your MLOps team. So what I discovered through this article is that, well, there is a machine learning operations accelerator. Yes. And what these contain is a set of workflows that can implement for you all those surrounded bits and pieces that need to come up for your model to be in production, and it applies the best practices. So you essentially have the best practices of MLOps already there, and it's very, very collaborative because then you can work with your MLOps team and everybody else. It also relieves a lot of pressure on you to get it right. So I really loved this piece, and I watched the video. It's an hour video, but wonderful use of your time. If you get to do it, please go and see it. You'll get to learn all of these aspects here. And I think you also enjoyed it. What was your highlight from this?
So you mentioned that there are workflows which are created, right? And these workflows are actually created through a combination of GitHub Actions as well as Azure DevOps. So what happens is, one of the examples is in the infrastructure, you have a YAML file created where you can reuse the resources which you would require to, for model training or deploying and stuff. So what will happen is GitHub Actions will go ahead and invoke this pipeline and the pipeline would run. So it's a part of your whole accelerator in that case. And that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. And I've been hearing a lot about GitHub Actions, but I never got the opportunity to look into them. So that was a perfect opportunity. And I will certainly be learning more about it. Article number 2. What did you think about this
one? Sorry. So yes, article number 2. Two things for me. One is I'm a beginner for data science. So this article talks about data science for beginners. And the second thing is the way it has been illustrated. It is so good.
Beautiful.
I have a picture memory, so it helps me to to remember each and every part of it, as well as the way the whole course curriculum has been set up. It's step by step. You start working with your data. You know how to work with Python. If you're working with relation data or non-relational data, so it depends on that. Plus you also see visualizations, right? So different types of charts, how you connect to your data set. There was one thing which I think this better. What do you think about communication being a part of data science over here?
I was very happy to see a communication module because oftentimes in courses you don't find it. And communication in the data science world is so important, and not in multiple aspects, because you are dealing with people who are not necessarily data science savvy. So they don't really know what you're actually doing.
Correct.
And what you want to avoid is keep on working on your model, and then once it's done, hello, surprise. But what happens is that people might tell you, that's not what we were expecting. So your business stakeholders need to be involved all along the different steps. And in order for this communication to be smooth, you need to be able to share with them what you're doing, simplify it, link the data science word to the business world, how does this impact, and how do you get your involve them throughout all the different steps? And it's not easy to do. So this communication module is so important. It's going to smoothen so many data science
Yes.
projects and set the expectations right as well. And also, to second you, I really loved the structure of this curriculum because it mimics the data science life cycle, from data gathering, from data exploration, from model creation, from training, and then evaluation. And also it has a part about the data science in the cloud, which is very important because you want to deploy your models for scale from the get-go. So I highly encourage you to try this curriculum, and outside the 30 days, make it a 6 month journey if you'd like.
That's great. So one of the things, Talila, is I didn't see machine learning in this.
Yeah, where is the machine learning? Where are all the algorithms? Where's the fun? Well, because it's a big topic, it required its own curriculum, which brings us to article number 3, which is machine learning for beginners. And in there, you'll get all your algorithms, right? So you get to understand the history of machine learning. You'll get to understand the different types of machine learning algorithms, from supervised to unsupervised. You'll get to dive into some very specific data types and how we work with them, like time series, like natural language processing when you're dealing with text data. You'll get also work with your regression and classification, which are the classic and must-know algorithms in this case. And I think you tried an example,
Yes,
didn't you?
I tried the one which tries to classify whether the food is Asian or Indian.
Asian or Indian, okay.
So that is one of the things which. So go ahead. There are many samples like this, and you can exactly understand the concept. For me, it was the classifiers, how classifiers work, and you have like multiple languages with support. So you can do it in Python, you can do it in R. So that's one of the things which I literally loved it.
Perfect.
Cool. And that brings up to our next article, which is how I can go ahead and build a full-fledged patient application. So do you remember that, in our week 1, we tried to look at an example where we talked about Azure Form Recognizer. Yes, and that is where we go ahead and talk deep dive into the Azure Form Recognizer. So here it's simply a place where you are creating a full-fledged web application where you are trying to decrease the time for a patient when he enters the hospital to the time he gets the care, right? And here the main core of the whole article over here is the Azure Form Recognizer. So in Azure Form Recognizer, what happens over here is you have multiple steps, okay, in this, which is how you go ahead and label your data, where your potential information would be, and then with that you train the model and then you deploy it for the web application. So this is useful for the admin, so that go ahead and just upload the form directly, no errors in submitting the information. It's accessible to the nurse, to the doctors, and you go ahead and then deploy it to the static web app. And this whole end-to-end thing is actually included in this article, and you can go ahead and try it out yourself. One of the very important things is with the form recognizer, you can use multiple cognitive services as well, and that's it. Go ahead and try it out yourself.
Yeah, amazing. And imagine the amount of time that will be decreased from filing all those paperwork for you to get the care. That's the future we're looking at here. Absolutely.
Great. And that brings up to our 5th article, which is stable diffusion. So tell me more about stable diffusion in
What
ML.
is this? So I'm sure you've heard and you've seen in your feed generative AI.
Yes.
All over.
Everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. And there is Copilot generating code. You have ChatGPT generating content, having conversations with you. And then there is the generation of images, right?
Correct.
So there are multiple ways of doing it. And as the race for generative images is going on right now, there are about 3, I would say, algorithms, models that are spearheading, I would say, the approach. So the one that we've talked about already is DALL-E from OpenAI, and this one is available through an API. So all you have to do is use it. Pretty easy, integrate it in your app. For the artists for the image generated in an artistic way, there's Mid-Journey, also very famous, very good as well. And then we have Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is a technique as well. It's a type of machine learning model to create generative images from prompts. And this one in particular has been created by a company called Stable.ai. And the particularity of it is that it's open source.
Nice.
Which means that, well, you can get a bit more hands-on. So for those of you who would like to try it for yourselves, here in this article, it's been deployed in Azure ML through one of our MVPs here. And you get to follow all the different steps. At some point, you also have an interface where you can play with all the parameters and learn about the parameters that are needed in order for you to get the pictures that you were expecting in the first place. So that's a very good learning example if you want to know what it takes to be hands-on and have your own generative AI model running. So loved it. I'm glad that we have this type of content here. It demystifies what generative AI is, and it also brings some reality. And if you want to actually modify it and go even deeper, you could. It's open source and a great learning tool.
That's great.
Yep. So I love this part, and I think let's talk about our last article. Yes, it's the last one. So enhancing customer experience with Azure Personalizer. I personally saw Personalizer as part of the cognitive services, but I never got to learn about it until this article, right? So tell us more about it.
So when we talk about this article, I wanted to state some facts, So 50% of the Australians think that if they have a single bad experience with a customer in terms of personalization, they never come back to that customer.
50%?
Yes, that's how
that's
high.
ruthless.
Yes. And 80% of the customers are more likely to come to your platform again if they get good personalized messages, which is either from a bot or from a person. So I wanted to reiterate the importance over here, what actually Azure Personalizer is. So Azure Personalizer is nothing but a part of the cognitive services, as you said, and it helps you to give a personalized experience to your users, which is, how what is relevant to you can be given to you in terms of a magical recommendation engine, and that gives you an upper hand towards targeting your customers and showing relevant things to your customers. Now, in this article, I learned about something which is called as reinforcement learning, right? But I was not 100% sure what it is. So can you explain what reinforcement learning is?
Yeah, sure. So if you take the data science curriculum or maybe the machine learning one, you learn there are three paradigms that you could use when you build your machine learning model: unsupervised machine learning, supervised, and then reinforcement learning. And they have different steps. So you would use unsupervised machine learning when you're first starting with your data and you don't really know if there are patterns to begin with. For example, I'm a retailer. I want to know what customers are, what type of products they're buying. So at first, what I will do, I'll do some supervised learning. I'll try to generate some clusters of customer preferences. So this cluster prefers product A, this one product B, this one product C, and then I'll try to learn about their demographics, their history, what is it that makes them prefer this product. So that's what unsupervised machine learning does for you. The other step is that it helps you to do your supervised machine learning, because now that I have that historical data, then I can build a model that can predict what new customers would actually choose, whether product A, product B, etc., based on their fit-in variables. Now, we're all familiar with these two. They're pretty intuitive. Correct. Reinforcement learning takes it a step ahead. It tells you, well, you know what? I don't want to be tied to the historical data and the prediction that I've had. I want to adjust my model based on the experience of my customer as they go. So kind of like a game somehow. So if you enter the shop and then you see product Z, which was not in my model before, and then you're scrolling through it and then you ignore it, then I'm like, negative reinforcement. Product Z is not for Hatim. But product X was, because he put it in the cart, looked at it, maybe purchased it. So that's positive reinforcement. So I add like a +1 to my model. So little by little, I get to update my model with the preferences of my customers dynamically based on how they behave with
Yes.
my product. So imagine you do that over a period of time across multiple customers, and then all of a sudden your recommendations are going to be way more spot on, and therefore you won't lose the 50% customers on your website. So that's what reinforcement learning does.
That's great. So I kind of understood the magic recommendation thing, but
Right.
I'll have to still go deep dive into it
Absolutely,
and
yes.
learn about it. So this brings to our end of 30 days of Azure
Yeah.
AI, and I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to summarize it on an overall. So starting week 1, we saw about introductions about what Azure
Yeah.
AI is. Week 2 was all of developers. We saw some of the applications of how you build with Azure AI. Week 3 was data science, and week 4 was detailed hands-on experiences for each and every technology.
Exactly.
So I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And Talila, what are your views on this?
Yeah, no, practice. That's what I say. The 30 days challenge is over now, but it doesn't mean that you cannot have your other 30-day challenge start in May or June or whatever, and keep going back to this content, and learning never stops. So thank you very much for following us, and hopefully you'll learn even further. So take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.